name and he appears.
My name's Craig.
Something in the air, it's already begun.
Welcome in, guys, to the Invicta FC62 media teleconference. I'm Megan Anderson. I'll be your host for this session. Daria Baranova will be joining me in a minute, but very excited to be here. Obviously, there's a lot of hype around this Friday. Obviously, Invicta goes down in Kansas City, returning to where it all began on Friday, the 16th of May. Prelims will be starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Main card will be at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS Sports Network. But we're going to go through a rundown of the card quickly. There was one bout that has fallen off the card. So Ashley Yoder and Abril Anguiano will no longer be on this card. Anguiano had an injury, so unfortunately that bout is off. So a little bit of reshuffling in terms of the bout order. So the lone prelim now will be Charles Mena versus Alexandra Lawal, both of them making their pro debut. So very excited to see them really take the next step in their careers this Friday. But main card, we're going to start off with Ashley Barrett versus Quinn Williams in a strawweight bout. Milana Judieva versus Amanda Tojes at flyweight. We've got Deanna Bennett and Hyla Nascimento in the co-main event. Very excited about this one at flyweight. And then obviously in the main event, we have a massive bantamweight bout between Katarina Lena and Olga Rubin. So I'm going to bring Daria in with us now as we're joining. She's going to join us for the first time on the broadcast. So this is going to be the second time we'll have an all-women's commentary team. So obviously myself and Julie Kedzie have been a staple for a little bit now, but we're adding a third, Daria Baranova, formerly known as Sonia Deville from the WWE. She's going to be coming on board. I'll be taking point as play-by-play, but Daria, how excited are you to be part of this moment?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, I'm geeking out a little bit because I did grow up watching Julie Kedzie and I have watched Megan Anderson as well. So I'm a little bit of a fan. No, you guys are both badasses, and I'm a fan. So first and foremost, I'm honored to be side by side with the two of you. But also, I just feel like Invicta has kind of been at the forefront of the women's evolution in sports in general, specifically MMA. So to be part of an all-female broadcast on a promotion like this, I'm really excited.
Well, we're excited to have you. Obviously, we've got a stacked card this Friday. Also, before I ask you this next question, for all the media in here, make sure to kind of virtually wave your hand if you have a question. So when we get to that, we'll be able to put you in to make sure you answer you get to ask those questions. But Daria, obviously stacked card, we've got a couple of big fights, and some of them with like potential title implications for the winner. What are your thoughts on this whole card, like as a whole?
Yeah, so I'm not gonna lie, the bar was set very high at my last Invicta appearance. I was at Invicta 61. You were there, obviously, and I think every bout but the main event ended in a finish. Only one went to decision. So
Yep.
it was like fireworks from start to finish. I was blown out of the water. I haven't been to a live MMA event probably prior to that 5, 6 years. So it was really exciting just to feel the atmosphere in the air. I think Invicta FC is where stars are born. I think it's where people really get the opportunity to garner their craft. Like you said, whether it's their pro debut or like Deanna Bennett, her 16th, 17th Invicta appearance. You
Yes.
know what I mean? I feel like it's really a place where female MMA stars are born. And so I'm excited. Stacked card from top to bottom. I don't think I could even pick a favorite if I tried, but there are a few that I'm specifically looking forward to.
Well, it's crazy that you mentioned like that last event. It was pretty much all finishes except for one fight. The crazy thing is the event before that, there was no finishes. They all went the distance, but every single fight was a back and forth absolute banger. So like that's the beauty of Invicta is, yeah, we like to see exciting finishes, but I love women in mixed martial arts because we bring a different intensity and ferocity that I think that we may not see sometimes from our male counterparts. And they go in and it might be 15 minutes, it might be 25 minutes, but they are slugging it out. Like they are going for the
100%.
finish. Like I love it. But obviously, we're going to talk about this card. I got to talk about the co-main event. You mentioned Deanna Bennett. We have a classic wrestler versus striker matchup. Deanna Bennett, obviously very well known for her wrestling. She holds the record for the most wins in Invicta history. She's been around for a very long time. Invicta FC 8 was when she debuted, and that was back in 2014. I know, very long time. But obviously, she's taking on Hyla Nascimento, who very impressive in her last fight against Victoria Leonardo. She is I believe she has the potential to be a future star. So very much a vet versus prospect type thing. With the flyweight belt currently vacant, what are you expecting to see from both of these ladies?
So I completely agree with you. Watching Hyla Nascimento, I was blown away. I think she's a woman who understands the kind of perfect blend. And maybe I'm biased coming from the sports entertainment background, but she understands what it means to entertain inside and outside of the cage. She dances on her way to the cage. I like that she has that little swagger and confidence about her. So I'm super excited to see this fight. And of course, Deanna Bennett, like we said, a staple of Invicta at this point. Um, I like when there's a title vacancy because I think it lights a fire under the butts of all the girls in the weight class across the board. And I like that. I think that, like you said, the women go out there every time swinging for the fences, trying to make a name for themselves and get higher up on the card. But in this match, I feel like both these girls, neither one is new to the Invicta cage, but I feel like it's now time for them to either step up or step out. And I think they're ready to show that they're the next one for that contention for the title.
Okay, so we're going to bring in the Wristlocks and Long Talks. I'm assuming podcast. Love the name.
Love the name.
Hello, how are you?
I'm not bad. How are you?
Doing good. What have you got for us?
So, Daddy, you went on about how you started off a good few years ago, but who inspired you to do that? But also with your background with MMA and WWE and like wrestling, how do you feel that'll help you when you move to the commentary side?
I'm sorry, who inspired me to do what? Which part?
Who inspired you to get into like MMA and wrestling?
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up watching the Chris Cyborgs and the Gina Carano's. That was kind of the time when I was in high school watching mixed martial arts, and I was fascinated. Gina Carano specifically, I just felt like representation in her. I don't know. I could just see myself in her and just the way that she carried herself and was doing these poised interviews, but then getting in the cage, locking the door and kicking the shit out of these women. Like I wanted that. I was like, I want to do that. And so that was kind of what inspired me to get into MMA. And then pro wrestling was kind of something that just organically came across my path, as weird as that sounds. I was out in LA training MMA and I got a call from a friend of mine talking about the reality show Tough Enough, which was like a competition series. And I was like bartending and broke at that time. So I was like, oh, that sounds fun. I'll go do a competition show. And so I went on the show, not thinking I would ever get on the actual show. I went to the tryout and I ended up getting on it. And then I ended up falling in love with professional wrestling. And so I actually had an amateur title bout scheduled for the same time, thinking I wasn't going to get on the show. So I had a decision to make. And when you're broke bartending in LA, the decision became easy. I was going to get a steady paycheck. And and that's how I moved into the world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, and so just with the second part as well, so with having the background of both, how do you feel that's going to help when you go to commentary on Friday?
Yeah, I definitely think it gives me a different perspective. Obviously, Julie and Megan are the experts inside the cage, having competed at such high levels for such a long time. But I think from an entertainment aspect and maybe you know, seeing something a little bit different in these fighters or helping to provoke something a little bit different in these fighters is kind of my goal and intention. Bring out sides of them that maybe they didn't even know they had, and you know, help them kind of get to that next level.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay,